It was a quiet afternoon when I found myself alone at home. The sun streamed through the windows, casting long shadows on the floor, and the house felt empty in a way that made me feel strangely isolated. My parents had gone out for errands, leaving me to relax in the peace and comfort of our suburban neighborhood. I had been lounging on the couch, flipping through a magazine, when suddenly a sharp knock at the front door broke the silence. I froze for a moment, unsure of what to do. It wasn't unusual for someone to stop by, but I wasn't expecting any visitors. I glanced at the clock on the wall, noting that it was early in the afternoon, far too soon for anyone to be selling something or delivering a package. I stood up slowly, my footsteps light as I made my way to the door. Another knock echoed through the house, more urgent this time. I hesitated, then took a deep breath, unlocking the door and pulling it open. To my surprise, there was no one standing there. The porch was completely empty. I frowned, peering left and right, hoping to catch a glimpse of whoever had been knocking. The street outside was as still as ever, with no sign of a person or a car in sight. I was about to close the door, dismissing it as a prank or a random passerby, when something caught my eye. A small package was sitting neatly on the doorstep, just beside the doormat. It was wrapped in plain brown paper, tied with a simple piece of twine, and had my name written in neat handwriting across the top. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't ordered anything, and no one in the house had mentioned receiving a package. Curiosity and a touch of unease gripped me as I knelt down to pick it up. The weight of it was light, almost as if it were empty, and the lack of any return address made it all the more mysterious. I stood there for a moment, weighing my options. Should I open it? Should I call someone? A sense of dread began to grow in my stomach, but I pushed it down. I told myself it was just a mistake, a mix-up in deliveries. I stepped back inside, closing the door behind me, and carried the package to the kitchen counter. The house still felt unnervingly quiet, and the more I stared at the package, the more unsettled I became. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a gift from a friend, or something my parents had ordered without telling me. But no matter how hard I tried, the nagging feeling of unease wouldn't go away. I slowly untied the twine, carefully peeling off the brown paper to reveal the contents inside. Inside was a small, plain box about the size of a jewelry box. It had no labels, no markings of any kind. I turned it over in my hands, searching for anything that could explain its presence on my doorstep. There was nothing. My fingers trembled slightly as I lifted the lid. What I found inside made my stomach drop. Nestled inside the box was a folded piece of paper, and beneath it, a small object wrapped in a soft cloth. I picked up the piece of paper first. The handwriting was familiar. It was my own. I recognized the neat, careful strokes of my signature. But that didn't make sense. I hadn't written anything like this. The note simply read, "I'll be watching." My blood ran cold as I stared at the words, my breath catching in my throat. Who could have written this? How could it be in my own handwriting? My mind raced with possibilities, none of them comforting. I set the note down carefully and unwrapped the small cloth. Inside was a small, weathered key. It looked old, like something you might find in an antique store, and it was covered in strange, unfamiliar markings. The key seemed out of place, its presence in the box only adding to the mystery. I turned it over in my hands, but there was no explanation, no clue as to what it might open or why it had been sent to me. The feeling of unease in my stomach twisted into something deeper, something darker. I stood there,